everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cassandra from the blog Craftably Ever After, and today I hope it's not going to be a too long video, and I hope it will be interesting. I really enjoyed working on the items for this video during the last week. So let me just get right into it. In my previous video I showed you Buddy Bear and what ended up being the week of the Buddy Bear with all of those bears I made for my daughter's fundraising. So this one I showed you before. He is made from a chunky, this Bella Coco, I don't know, it's a very glittery, but you can't see it. I think it's a Bella Coco, chunky. I don't know what weight it is, a 6 or a 7. I'm not very good with yarn weights. So this was my Buddy Bear made with a chunky yarn. Now when I made him in this size, it got me thinking about using different yarns on the exact same pattern to see how the project would work up, because the best way to compare yarns, obviously, to use it on the exact same pattern, so you could see a size difference, how it works. So yes, folks, this is going to be the week of Buddy Bear 2.0, because I spent the entire week just digging around my stash, getting different types of yarn, working up a bunch of Buddy Bears, just to show you what it looks like, size differences, tell you which yarns I loved, which yarns I less than loved. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the smallest one, and this one was made using this yarn. It's a wool, it's an alpaca, Edelweiss alpaca. It's a very thin, I think it's a fingering or a sock. It's a fine, super fine fingering weight yarn. I think it's a size 1. It's made up of, now where was it? I know it's on here somewhere. 65% wool, 25% polyamide, and 10% alpaca. Now he came out a teeny tiny little bear. Now I don't know if you can see, but the alpaca part of the yarn created like those little fuzzies you can see on this bear. I did not enjoy working with this wool. I never thought I was allergic to wool. I don't think I am. But using this constantly made my eyes itch. It was very frustrating. I actually do like the size. He's actually a much better keychain or a backpack buddy size. He's very small, and I'll show you compared to the other bears that I made. But these little fuzzies, I'm telling you, it got everywhere. I can picture an alpaca when I look at this guy. So I don't know, I'm going to have to give him a trim or something, because I really, sorry, there we go. I don't like those fuzzies. I wouldn't say it's a difficult yarn to work with. It's not soft though. It's scratchy. Like, who would wear this as a clothing item? I'm not sure. I don't know what, because obviously this type of yarn, this alpaca wool blend, it's not made to make toys with. It's obviously made to make clothes with. But who would wear it? It's so itchy. But anyway, so to make toys with, will I use it again for toys? No. I like the size, honestly. I do like the size. I don't mind working with very thin yarn. But it's just so like scratchy. I don't know, and I'm gonna have to give this boy a trim because all of these hairs sticking out. It looks like he's shedding. Anyway, So this was our first one. Fingering, sock weight, super fine, size 1, wool blend, or wool mods, I think mainly wool and alpaca. Next, I bought this yarn. It's actually, when you purchase from Hobby, now I purchase from Hobby because I live in Denmark. Hobby ships from Denmark. So if I order something on Monday night, I receive it by Wednesday morning. So for me, it's really the most convenient way to buy yarn. And they've got this nice point store system or point system. These ones I used points for. So this is a Happy Toes. It's also a wool, 75% wool, 25% polyamide. It's actually it's a sock yarn. It's a fingering weight, super fine, weight 1. And I made this guy. So I don't usually use striping, self-striping variegated yarns for toys, as I mentioned before, but I wanted to see how it worked out. And also, I do like the size. It is smaller. Again, not the softest yarn. I don't know what it is. Are you supposed to soak wool or wash it or something afterwards to make it soft? Because it's really, really hard and scratchy. I don't know if I would give this toy to a child because it's uncomfortable. Again, I don't know how you would wear it, but again, I'm not used to working with wool. You're probably supposed to wash it with those fancy wool washers. But just to show you quickly, so this is my second bear using the same weight of yarn, and they are different. So it's actually, to me, quite a big difference for a yarn that is exactly similar in weight. Now, much more interesting than those two, this is my usual size bear. So this is the Hobby Rainbow Cotton 8/4, which is also classified as a fingering or a sock weight, superfine, size 1. Now for all 3 of these so far, so this one and the previous 2, I used a 2.5mm hook, which is my favorite to use. So this is my favorite size of the Buddy Bear. This is the one that I make most often. It's my favorite type of yarn to use. I use it for almost all my toys. Now, just again as a comparison, so here you see this Buddy compared to the previous one, and then compared to the first one. Now, this is quite a significant difference for 2 yarns that's classified exactly the same weight. But again, wool and cotton, it does, I'm sure, well, obviously works up differently. Cotton is a much more sturdy yarn, which is why it's very, very, very good for toys. It's very soft. It's very easy to work with. I love it. It's got a nice clean look. It's got a nice soft feel. Perfect for toys. Obviously, you can pop it in the wash. Wool is always hand wash. So that makes it a bit more tricky with toys, especially if you're making toys for younger kids. You need to be able to pop it in the wash. 100% cotton. This is my go-to yarn. Next on my list, number 4. Like I said, I wanted to try and use different types of yarn. Most of what I've got in that I personally use is acrylic or cotton, but I've got some other yarns that I've collected here and there. This was the Stylecraft Recreate that I got in one of the Crochet Society boxes. I think it's I'll check now. Sorry, I should have written this down. It is composed of 40% wool, 30% acrylic, and 30% polyester. So you don't really get that wool feeling. It's not as scratchy as the previous wools, the first 2 bears. And this was the one I made the little Easter bunny based on the elephant pattern from this Crochet Society box. So I really the first time around I also mentioned I really did enjoy working with this yarn. It is very nice to work with. Also came a nice size, very similar actually to Buddy Bear, maybe slightly bigger. But this one I think is actually listed as a DK weight, whereas this one is a sock yarn. So that's the difference in them. So I think the cotton does work up a bit bigger in its category. So this one was a DK. Not a massive difference in size, but I really liked working with the Stylecraft yarn as well. So I might use all the leftovers that I've got, which is this little ball. I'll probably get 1, maybe 2 bears out of that still. Next up, my OG, my original yarn from South Africa, which is the Pullskein DK. Also a nice size, very similar, well I think actually almost exactly the same size as the Stylecraft DK. So these two, this one is 100% acrylic, this one was the wool acrylic polyester blend, but they worked up very much the same. They've got the same feel almost. So I enjoyed working, like I said, with both of these. I've always enjoyed an acrylic yarn. This is why I've got tons of this one, the Elle Pullskein. Next, and I've showed this before just from using it on a scarf for this bear. So you would have seen this pink color before. This was the Zafira, 55% cotton, 27 wool, 18 acrylic. So it's the majority of it is a cotton. And this was classified as a medium 4. So a worsted weight yarn. Now, I wouldn't have classified it as that. For this one, I did use a 3.5 millimeter hook. Yes, I think I didn't use the 2.5 for all the previous ones I've showed so far. So the first 5, they were all made using my trusted 2.5 millimeter. This one I went up a bit because it said worsted. I thought, okay, I'll go up to a 3.5, which was fine. But it worked very close to the same size as the DK, which I found interesting. So I wouldn't have said this yarn specifically, to me, looks like a 4. Like I would classify a 4 to be bigger. So I guess it depends on the yarn group, or not the yarn group, the yarn type. Maybe if it's a cotton, it would definitely work up bigger. If it's wool, it would probably work up thinner. But this one, and I love this color. I really love this color. So I've got 2 full balls of the Zafira, plus a little bit of my a third ball. And honestly, I really like the look of this yarn. I don't know if you can see, it's got these little flecks, and it's not like a solid pink color. It's a bit lighter on screen. It's a really vibrant pink purple color that I absolutely love. And I think I'll use the remaining Zafiras I've got to make bears because I really enjoy working with it. Next is an acrylic yarn, again from Crochet Society. This is the leftover bit from the December box, which I used to make the polar bears with. And let me tell you, this yarn is amazing. I love it so much. It's so soft. So that's also, it's called Coco Confection DK. So a really nice weight of yarn. I love working with DK. And I love this yarn. It is so, obviously not all acrylics are made equal. We know this. You get awful acrylics. You get gorgeous acrylics. This one is a gorgeous acrylic. I don't know what they do to get this yarn this soft. It is absolutely amazing. And if I have to give up my beloved rainbow cotton for any other yarn, it would be for this Confection. I think it's called Confection. Sorry, let me just look in this book again, because I don't keep ball bands. I don't know. As soon as I start and it falls off the yarn, I just chuck it. It is called Bella Coco Confection DK. And it comes in a bunch of colors. It is amazing. I love it. So all of the leftover, I've got this yellow and I've got some gray and I've got a little bit of blue. All of it I'm going to use to make buddy bears, because it is just so lovely to work with. I love it. So as a comparison with my other acrylic, he's definitely a bit bigger. So this is my South African DK. This is the Bella Coco DK. A slight difference in the two. This one is definitely softer. It is a beautiful yarn. I love it. Next, and this surprised me, I think, the most. Now, take into account, we've now had 2 DK, which is the, I think it's a DK is a size 3, a light. We've had a size 4 worsted. Now I come to another favorite of mine, which is Rainbow Cotton 8/6, which is classified as a fine, a size 2. And this one was bigger than both of my DKs. Not by much, but it's interesting, and definitely bigger than the size 4 worsted weight yarn. So that's interesting. So just to compare it, this is the Rainbow Cotton 8/4. This is the Rainbow Cotton 8/6. Fingering weight, sport weight. Size 1, size 2. So there you go. There you can see a difference. Unfortunately, I didn't have the cotton in a DK weight. You do get one, the Rainbow Cotton 8/8. You get other cotton yarns in that same DK size. I don't have any, which is actually, I'm sorry that I don't have any, because that would have been interesting to see how they work up. So this one, I also used a 2.5 millimeter. So for both of them, I used my 2.5 millimeter hook. So that is quite a difference between a fingering and a sock weight. And this one is a sport weight. All right, last 3 bears. This one I made with Amigo XL, 100% acrylic. It's classified as a medium 4. And for him, I also used, I think, a 3.5 millimeter. So just to compare this worsted weight 4 with this worsted weight 4. Again, a very big difference for me in yarns that are classified in the same weight category. The bigger difference is he's definitely bigger. I wouldn't make him into one of my keychains or my backpack buddies. This is the one that I use for a backpack buddy. As you can see, a bit of a difference. You could probably manage it. I don't think I would do it, but it's a nice handheld size. And the Amigo, the acrylic, well, acrylics are usually, for the most part, relatively soft, which is why it is a good yarn to use for children's toys. Cotton is, I think, better. It's more durable. It has a cleaner look, and for the most part, being a natural fiber, it is also, I think, a bit safer. And a lot of cottons are Oeko-Tex verified, which means they are free of harmful chemicals, which is important these days. Although saying that, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in the late 70s, grew up in the 80s. The days where our rooms were painted with lead paint. We had cereals filled with artificial colors and flavors. And here I am today, living to tell the tale. So who knows? I don't know. I don't feel any side effects. I think I'm doing all right. But yes, these days people are obviously a bit healthier, looking at artificial colors, flavors, whatnots. So cotton, definitely for making toys, a very, very safe option. Second to last, bear. This one is called We Love Yarn 100% classic acrylic Aran, which is also a worsted weight Aran, same category, weight 4. But this guy is much, much bigger than this size 4. And that's what I found so interesting. How are weights that are in the exact same... Now, I know there's weight variations within a category. You get thinner 4s, you get thicker 4s, you get... But again, for the same category, I find these to be quite a big difference. So these are both, I think this one, I also used a 3.5. This one I also used 3.5. So I think for most of the thicker yarns, I use a 3.5. All of my DKs and fingering weights, I did 2.5. And then for this last one, which you've seen before, the chunky, I think I used a 5 for him. But I don't like using much thicker yarns than a DK. And I don't like using big hooks. So there we go. That was interesting. I really enjoyed it. So my smallest bear with my biggest one. So that was interesting. What would I say? Would I use wool for toys? Absolutely not. I think it's scratchy. I also think that if you do wash it, wool will lose its shape, which is why an acrylic or a cotton would work much better to hold their shape. And they're just more durable in the sense you can pop them in the wash and they don't really, say especially the cottons, they don't really lose their shape. They can handle a bit of rough and tumble. So my personal opinion, cotton and acrylic, perfect for toys. Let me know what you guys use and what your favorite yarn is for making toys. And your favorite, do you have a favorite hook size? Like I said, I like a 2.5. I like a fingering weight. That's my favorite one to work with. But it's interesting. I really enjoyed making these 11 buddy bears. I'll also link the pattern for little buddy down below. He is a free pattern and he is a tutorial on my blog. This one, obviously I know the pattern off by heart by this time, so it was very quick for me to whip up these bunch of bears. Now lastly, before we go, and I know this video has been very, very, very long, my last item, which I managed to squeeze in right after all of my buddy bears, the Easter Friends crochet along, week 2, this cute little bunny. Just look at that face. He just looks so worried that I want to give him a hug and say, it is going to be all right. Do not stress, you will be fine. So this is him, little Coco bunny, or her, I'm not sure. I'm busy with a third pattern in the crochet along, which is a little chick. So I will show that to you in the next video. I hope you're joining that crochet along. It's on Instagram. I'll link week 3 down below if you have access to Instagram. Actually, I think the pattern is available on amigurumi.com as well, and I'll link it as well if you guys wanted to go have a look. But that's it. So Coco Bunny, week 2 of the crochet along, and then all of my buddy bears. I can't even hold them all. It will be difficult. But there we go. There's some of them. Can I hold them all? Let's see. It's getting a bit crowded in here. But there we go. 11 bears. Let me know what you guys are working on. And I hope you're having a fantastic week. Stay safe. Stay creative. And I'll see you next time. Bye.